And I can't hold it much longer. Gonna let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
This is it. This is it, Cam. How's the trip been?
I've had a ball, man. I can't tell you guys how much fun I've had out here. Some good juju, some good vibes. Tigers camp, Twins camp, Red Sox camp. But I tell you, walking in here today, the Braves are hungry. They've got a little bit of chip, a little sense of urgency. Making the playoffs last year, as banged up as they were, it's been a fun trip. I'm excited.
They got Profar late in the offseason, AJ, but they didn't go crazy this offseason. Do you feel like we're not talking about the Braves enough? Ken Rosenthal said that on Fair Territory that just aired.
I think we've talked about them a lot. The problem I have is they didn't do a ton. And you look at the other teams in their division, the Mets got all the hype, bringing back Alonso, signing Juan Soto, making the pitching moves they made. I think the Phillies are still the Phillies, and they're always going to get hype as long as you have Harper and Turner and Nola and Wheeler, and they went out and got Luzardo and some other guys. So I don't know that we're not talking about them enough. I just think we got to wait and see with their health situation where they're at once opening day hits and once we get into it. Because, when you look at this roster, there's not a lot of depth. I don't know that there's a ton of depth in this roster, and they've already taken some hits. So, yes, when they get Strider back and you have Strider, Sale, Lopez, Schwellenbach, and whoever the fifth guy is, yeah, you're going to have a nice rotation. The bullpen should be all right. But, is there going to be any more injury hits like Acuña last year, like Murphy already this year? So we'll see. Yep.
Good call. All right, so let's recap what we did spring training-wise, and then we'll get into the top topic. This is it. You can see the spring training calendar. If we go back to the 24th of February, we started with the Orioles in Sarasota. If you're listening pod-wise later on, then I encourage you to check out the calendar because it's complete. Good month. Great job by the crew behind the scenes. Mark and everyone else that was on the road, hustling, early mornings, the whole deal. So we'll finish strong with Braves camp. It'll include combos with Chris Sale, manager Brian Snitker, and some others as well. And then tomorrow we're back to like a normal show, getting ready for opening day next week. And we'll have more information on where we'll be for opening day next week as well. But let's charge right now.
Charging the mound.
Ooh, this is a fun topic to start the day. Rhett Bollinger, who covers the Angels, puts this out yesterday. The Angels instituted a new rule this season with players not allowed to be on their cell phones at their lockers. Ron Washington, their skipper, said he did it so the players would interact with each other more and bond. Mike Trout and Zach Neto both said it has worked out great so far. Cam, do you like this idea?
I actually love it, Scotty, because when you think about it, when I think about it, now that the time that we're in, the phone can be such a distraction. And when I think about the most successful teams that I've been a part of, there was so much interaction. There was so much chemistry. Guys really took time to get to know each other, to have conversations, to, talk about and value what it takes to get a win in the big league. So at times, with so many distractions, Twitter, Instagram, social media, personal life things going on, I think that's a great aspect to add. And he's not telling you to put it down all day. He's just saying not at your locker, right? When you're at your locker, take time, communicate, talk about how things are going at home, personal stuff, baseball stuff, whatever it may be. So I think what he's doing, and I think that's why Ron has been such a good leader of men for so many years. You've always heard nothing but great things about Ron Washington, his leadership. This is just another example of him doing what he can for the organization to be in a much better place than last year. And chemistry goes a long way. It does.
I kind of disagree with this one, but I see why Wash did it. And having played for Wash, he's big into relationships, and I get it. But to me, I mean, we're grown men at that point. I played till I was 40 years old, Cam. Like, I'm 40 years old. What happens if my kid has something come up? Or, it's like, I don't know. Your locker is your own time. If I'm facing into my locker and I'm on my phone, like, why does it matter what I'm doing? As long as I'm ready to play the game. I think this is one of those things that you're just like, I'm going to try something different to sound different. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. And you know what? I'm happy that Mike Trout and Zach Neto are on board for this, but I don't know. I feel like I'm a grown man. I should be able to do what I want as long as I'm ready at 7:05 when that first pitch is thrown. I mean, that's all that matters. I mean, you build chemistry by on the field and off the field stuff, by going to dinner. You don't build chemistry though by sitting there talking, because guys aren't in their locker a lot. So I mean, I get when you're in your locker, but how much are guys really in their locker? Really? Like, did he ban
No, I
it from
thought you were going to say,
the training
AJ.
room on the training table? Did he ban it in the weight room when guys have their headphones in and they're listening to their music? You know, like in your locker. I don't know. Again, cool
AJ,
wash, it's a cool story, but I don't know.
I thought you were going to say, why are we not talking about getting some pitching? That's what I thought you were going to say. I get
I
where
mean,
you're
if they
coming
used
from.
their cell phone,
I
they
thought-
could have bought some pitching.
That's what I thought you were going to say. We're worried about the wrong things, but I do understand what Wash is trying to do. I do.
I do too, but I mean, at the same time, again, it still goes back. You know, Cam, you're a grown man. I can do whatever. You know,
Yeah,
I feel like I should be able to do whatever I want as long as I'm responsible, as long as I'm not costing the team games by sitting there on my phone. I don't know. And times have changed. These kids grew up on their phone. But Cam, don't give me this about your phone crap because you were just on your phone working on it for an hour to get your TikTok up and running.
I'm trying to become the young,
trying
the
to
cool
monetize
young
your Twitter.
old
Like,
guy,
don't give me
AJ.
this. Just think, because you
just trying
couldn't
to stay
monetize your Twitter if you weren't on your phone making TikToks.
I'm trying to stay updated with the times, AJ. Unlike some of you older guys, update your iPhone. You got to update yourself as well. So don't blame me because I'm trying to stay cool, all right?
Hey, just because I had an iPhone 1, don't be mad at me.
Do you think there are some pissed off players, right? We talked about Trout and Neto being happy with it. Obviously, we're probably not going to hear the other side of this, but do you think there are any players, especially a veteran, that goes to Wash and says, I feel like this is false hustle, like a Travis d'Arnaud, say, that goes up and says, you know what? I'm not sitting here on social media scrolling all day long. I do want to text my family and say hi and whatever else. And the time for me to do that actually is at my locker. So I feel like we're able to do both things. Do you feel like that would be a problem for anyone and they would actually say something? Like, Cam, do you think, if someone was on the other side, or actually, Cam, we should start with AJ since he disagrees, right? So let's say AJ's on the team, okay? Would you go and sit down with Wash, be like, Wash, I've been in the league for whatever amount of years, and try and convince him that this is not necessarily the right move?
Here's what I would have said. I would have liked it better if you weren't on your cell phone when you're not in your locker. Like, in your locker is your own time. Your locker is your own space. Like, you get a little 3-foot cubby that you put your shoes and your jockstrap and everything in, right? That's my own space. But when I'm in the other areas, then I would say let's have no cell phone policy, because then you really got to talk to each other. Now, would that lead to everybody sitting in their locker? Maybe. But a lot, guys got to go to the weight room. Guys got to go to the training room. Guys got to go eat. That's when you want guys to talk to each other, when they're in the locker. When I'm putting on my underwear, I don't need anybody talking to me. I'm looking at my phone because I'm trying to figure out what, my family's doing. What's this happening? So I think it would have been cool. He said only in your locker, but I think it'd be cool if you had it where there was no cell phone policy outside your locker.
I'll actually, as much as I hate to do it, when I first actually heard this yesterday, my first inclination was exactly what AJ said. It almost would make sense more if you just like, you don't have it around the clubhouse, like walking around the clubhouse with your head down like this, but it made more sense at the locker. So as much as I hate to, I actually do agree with AJ. I think that in my head would have made a little bit more sense, because when we're walking around, we need to be eyes up, alert, maybe communicating. But at the locker, it seems like that would have been a better spot for it to be okay. So I actually agree with AJ. I think that would have worked out a lot more. But to answer your question, Scotty, right now, and that was a great hypothetical, AJ could do that. But there's only one guy in that clubhouse right now that could go up to Wash and ask anything, and that's Mike Trout. So anybody else, yeah, you got to respect Wash. You got to respect his wishes, his time around the game. But I do agree with AJ. I think it would have made more sense to be where, hey, you can have it at your locker, walking around a clubhouse, calf, whatever. Like, let's talk. Let's be around each other a little bit more. I think that would have made a little bit more sense.
So, AJ, give me the dynamic of what the clubhouse is like and where people spend most of their time so that fans can understand how this works. So they go to their locker now, right? They grab their cell phone and then they go to the cafeteria, say, to text their friends or to check social media. How is this going to play out?
All right, so this is how, I haven't been in a clubhouse in a while, but I still walk in there every weekend with Fox to talk to guys, right? Guys in spring training, Cam will tell you, he's in the locker room in spring training. Guys walk to their locker, they put their clothes on, and then they walk out. And they go to the weight room, they go to the food room, they go to the training room, they go outside to do something, wherever it is. But guess what they have in their pocket? Their cell phone or in their hand. Every guy you see walk around, listen, I have my cell phone right here. Guys are like this. Oh, hey. Oh, I almost ran into that wall. Oh, I almost ran into you, right? That's just the way things are. And that's fine. That's the way everyone was raised, and that's the way the world has become. Walk around a street of a city. Everybody's on their phone looking down like this. Oh, who am I texting, right? So they come to their locker, they put their clothes on, they grab their phone, they go into the other rooms, they do their stuff, they're around the other people, they come back to their locker, everyone's gone, they take a shower, put their uniform on, go play the game, come back. I mean, they're only at their locker for a minute. So to take it away at their locker, I mean, okay, cool. But that's what I'm saying. You should take it away from all the other places, because the other places are where most of the players spend their time. Scott, you've been in locker rooms. Guys are never in their locker when you need them. I need to talk to this guy. They're not in their locker. That's for damn sure. You can't find them.
Yeah, we're always joking on the media side that guys are hiding, or they know when the media is in there. You know this, Cam. It wasn't you guys, obviously. That's why you're on a show like this. But Cam, there were some guys that knew exactly when the media was allowed in. And then as soon as they walked out, because sometimes I would be the last person to walk out, I would see certain players walk out of a particular area to then resume their day. And that's fine. I mean, they don't want to talk that day or ever. And so they avoid people.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And 100% guys are looking at that watch going, okay, media time, doors open at this time, close at this time. Yeah, I'm going to go get all my work in while the media's in here. AJ's absolutely right. So, again, AJ's point of view, as much as I hate to say it, AJ is 100% right. There's so much more going on outside your locker opposed to, like you said, you sit down for a second, text your family, keep it moving, boom, boom, boom. But guys are definitely checking that media slot to make sure they can get in and get out to avoid the media.
Last
and don't
layer
forget,
here.
Listen, hold on. No, don't forget this. Cam, you know this, and I've been around enough guys, and I still am in the clubhouse, usually around locker rooms. Scott, dudes are on their Twitter, dudes are on their Insta, dudes are on their TikTok, dudes are all the time. Like, don't give me that, they're only in their locker. These guys are always on Instagram and Twitter and everything, checking to see what's happening, or especially like around trade deadline. The whole team's on Twitter looking to be like, oh, man, you might get traded and you might get traded. Like, did you know you're going to get Mike Trout? You might be traded. Like, it's crazy how much guys know because of social media, and they're always on it.
Is it a problem?
I didn't think it was.
Ron thought it was, so maybe that's why
all that matters.
That's why we got this rule change.
Right?
Yeah, I mean,
Watch must have walked through too many times. You know what? I can only imagine too. I can imagine this is out the blue. I'm only assuming, right? I respect Wash so much. I'm only assuming it was a case of something where he's seen it too many times, where he's walked through his clubhouse and he's just going, man, we could be interacting a little bit more, in my perspective. So I'm assuming something happened that made him want to change this. But again, I think it's all, it comes from a good place. I think he trying to just create a better chemistry. Because at the end of the day, too, when you care about your teammates, you play harder for the guy next to you. So it all comes from a good place. But I think AJ's made a great point. Maybe we need to maneuver a shift where you actually can use the phone, because it would make more sense to not have it. And like AJ said, guys are going to the dugout, taking Instagram photos. Hey, look, we had the new park and we're doing this and doing that. It's like those things will make a little bit more sense.
Also, I mean, there are some players that right after a game will immediately go check social media. And if you have a good game, that's fun. If you have a bad game,
Facts, exactly.
Gosh, it's damaging. But it's their choice.
That's how they grew up, though. That's how they grew up. That's how these players grew up. It's not like they didn't know what they were getting themselves into when they signed up on social media. I never had social media when I was playing because, man, there would have been some bad nights. There would have been some long nights just sitting around going, man.
AJ, can you come watch me tonight? I was on social media. I had a bad game. I need you to come monitor me tonight. I'm in a bad place.
Yeah.
You know what? The first thing I tell you, put your cell phone away and don't look at social media. Don't have it, because listen, Cam, we talk about this all the time on the show. You can do the best thing in the world. You could do the best, have the greatest game in the world. You could go 5 for 5 with 5 homers and 100 RBIs in this game, right? And there'll be one fan out there that goes, man, you could have had 101 RBIs. And you'll be like, damn, he's right. You know what? There's always going to be some fool out there that's going to hate on no matter what you do. As long as you know you did the best you could and you're doing the right things, the rest is all BS.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, but let me ask you this. Last thing I want to add to this, Scott. But as we're having this conversation, I think the biggest thing, the most important thing is the Angels got a lot more issues than cell phones. Let's just be honest.
Right. That's not going to lead to more wins. There's no wins above replacement number getting a boost from this. Hey, maybe
We'll
we're
find
wrong.
out. Hey, we'll
but-
find out. What if they go out and win 162 games? Damn, they should have taken them cell phones away 10 years ago.
Mhm. And they'll be sweeping cell phones across
maybe
the
the
game.
pitching needs to put the cell phones down. That's what they need, a lot better pitching.
Hey, if that works, they'll be implementing the rule across the sport. But we'll see. I mean, it's a pretty good division still. All right, when we swing back, we're going to talk to Chris Sale. We'll ask Brian Snitker about this coming up later too, the whole cell phone policy that his buddy Ron Washington has put together. Be right back, FT. FT fam, I hope you have as much confidence as Penelope right now, who is an avid Spot and Tango fan, okay? And she uses the code FOUL, Kratz, because this is a personalized dog food subscription service that prevents you, of course, from going to the store to pick up the food. And she just gets the highest quality unkibble. That is what they're known for. And I know you love the quiz part of it too.
It's a super quick quiz, but it lets you give them the information and they tailor it to what is needed based on their age, size, activity level, all things that are custom for each and every one of your dogs.
Yeah, human grade ingredients in that unkibble. USDA meat, fruits, and veggies that are approved there. No artificial stuff, no preservatives. They've got the exclusive deal for the FT fam for a limited time. Go to spotandtango.com/foul. Use code FOUL to get 50% off your first order. That's spotandtango.com/foul. It's spotandtango.com/foul. Code foul. Epic. All right. We got 2 minutes till we're coming back. AJ, did you have fun calling the Tokyo series?
I had a great time other than the time of day it was, but other than that, it was awesome. Listen, the two games were great. They went about how you would think. The Dodgers are really good without Freddie and Mookie. I saw what Cam said about Sasaki. I'm gonna wait and see because he's got one pitch, dude. I'm sorry. He's got nasty pitch. He got nasty split, but no, he never threw a first strike. He threw 100
AJ,
mile an hour, and he can't throw a split first strike. And you know what the Cubs did? They're like, we ain't gonna swing at it.
AJ, you called for a long time. Matter of fact, I think you are one of the most underrated catchers in the game. Did you not watch him throw a pretty decent slider a few times? First off, his first outing. And you know, like I know, all they got to do is get that guy in the zone more. I thought he nibbled a little bit too much. The stuff plays. And he's working on a third pitch. So I hear you. I know you're in person, but come on, man. You know good and well, once he gets comfortable, I think they could have something nice on their hands. Yamamoto struggled his first outing too last year, walked a lot of guys. He kind of got it together. So I think he's going to be okay.
Listen, I said what I say. I said wait and see. Wait and see. I said
You
wait
didn't
and
like
see.
that slider? You didn't like that slider you saw?
With the ones he threw to Matt Shaw, who looked like he'd never seen a slider before, them sliders?
Oh, don't blame Matt Shaw. That's 3 pitches. I counted 3 pitches. We'll see.
I know it's one start. Do we think he's going to be a star or not? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
He's gonna be good. I think you just got to figure it out. But I'm like this right now. I'm leaning up, but I'm kind of like, but I think he's gonna go up just because he's young, and the Dodgers know how to fix these dudes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Right.
gonna say yes,
He's young.
Scotty. I think he has some star potential. Once he catches his breath and calms everything down, I think this guy has a chance to be extremely good because the stuff played. What's up, FT fam? We're back at it again here in Braves camp with not only one of the best pitchers that I've ever seen, I think we all can say one of the best pitchers AJ's ever caught, hands down. Cy Young Award winner, comeback player of the year, triple crown. What haven't you done other than punch me out a few times? Chris Sale sitting down with us today. It's good to have you, my friend.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. Probably the only thing I haven't done is make AJ completely happy with anything I do. So I'm still working.
And we still muting him right now because he's cursing you out right now. But it's good to have you, man. I wanted to talk to you after an incredible year. Tons of success in the past, right? Coming off some quirky injuries here and there. What was your initial focus coming over here to Atlanta Braves? You know, just initially, what are you thinking when you hear about the move being made?
Yeah, first thing was just be healthy, right? I've talked a lot about it in the past. Going into that off season after the 23 season was the first time I was really going into an off season, not dealing with a shoulder, an elbow, finger, whatever it was. So I really had the whole off season to really get my body back where I needed to be. Previous off seasons dealing with stuff, I wasn't picking up a baseball till like January, and that kind of puts you behind the eight ball. I really like kind of getting going, in November and getting things moving around and just kind of knocking the rust off early, so then you can start building as the off season goes. So number one on the list was what? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Man the post.
So let me ask you, during that process, was there a point where you go, dang, I feel good. Like I'm feeling like my old self again, or hey, the Braves are about to get the guy that I know I am and the guy that they're hoping that I could be. Any of that, or was it like a little bit of a mental curve as well? Like, okay, new place, new face, let me feel things out. When did that happen where you go, okay, I'm back?
So I would say that it was a little bit of both, right? So we get going into the off season, and at the end of 23, I strung like 2 or 3 like decent starts together, where it was like, okay, like that was something you can hang your hat on going into an off season. Once the off season got going and I started, working out, getting, throwing, getting off the mound, I was like, man, like I feel good, but I felt good before, and then it just, things kind of unraveled. So it was like, okay, like, it's still kind of on ice a little bit, where it was like, okay, I feel good, I feel confident, but I've been in this spot before, and then everything kind of unraveled. So it was really the mental grind of just taking everything as it came and not getting too far ahead of myself. Like, okay, today was a good day, but that doesn't mean 3 weeks from now is going to be great. So like every day was just like, okay, appreciate the gains you get when you get them, but don't get too far ahead of yourself.
So, okay, before I let AJ go, I want to talk about that. When you miss time as a player, I've been there before. What type of appreciation did you have, or gratitude, or were you even more enthused to be like, damn, I really missed this game? You know what I mean? How important was it to get back on the field?
Yeah, I mean, well, you know how it goes. Anytime you're taken away from something, the only thing that's really on your mind, I mean, you're sitting at breakfast with your family, just staring out into nothing, going like, when am I going to
Nobody cares about you.
When am I going to play again? And so it can consume you, and when it consumes you, it becomes like a burden, right? But the thing was really lucky, and I can't stress enough, is like being surrounded by a lot of really good people that kind of helped me keep kind of pushing forward. Family, friends, teammates, trainers, doctors. I mean, the list goes on and on. So, it was that mentality of really wanting to play but not being able to, some of the frustration. But the one thing I can really kind of say is just try to, fall in love or appreciate the process to getting back. Because if you do that, if you're just bitter the whole time doing this rehab, you're going to get back and you're still going to be kind of bitter. If you can just kind of appreciate the process and take what comes, that appreciation comes back, tenfold when you get back out there.
Did you learn that when you got that tired beard you have?
I actually shaved this on the off day. I walked and looked. I don't look in the mirror very often, as you can probably tell, but
neither does AJ.
I went to the bathroom and I looked at myself. I was like, what is going on? I mean, it was like this whole situation was just like connected. My beard was like down to here, and you can see all my gray hair when my beard's long. So I try to, trim it up, look a little bit younger.
Hey, I know that feeling. Trust me on that one. I totally get that feeling. Now, my question is why? Why? You're not happy with what you're doing. I'm happy with what you're doing. Are you kidding me? I'm very happy with what you're doing. The reason I'm happy with what you're doing is you won a Cy Young. Are you kidding me? Chris got to win a Cy Young. I got to go to the award ceremony and watch your tired speech that you gave. The only thing I was mad about had me introduce you. Nothing against Corey Kluber, but I think I would have had a little bit more fun than Kluber when he introduced you.
I will say this. I definitely appreciated having Kluber introduce me. And it was kind of a double-edged sword because I even made a joke about it. I might have been standing up there sooner if it wasn't for him. So having him introduce me, and we had to get him out of the game for me to be able to get this thing. So yeah, I can only imagine what your grand introduction for that would have been. But hey, more inspiration for next year, right? Like if I win it again, maybe you'll be the guy.
Hey, we'll see. We'll see.
So coming off of last year, great year. Here we are. We know how health is important for this team, for you as well. What's the workload looking like this year? Or is it, hey, I'm gonna go as I feel. I'm gonna do what this team needs, or where are you on that end? You and Snit.
Yeah, so I'm actually feel confident about this year. I know. So if you look at kind of the track record, like it's a weird thing with starting pitching where it's like it's tough to do until you do it, but when you do it, you can kind of keep doing it.
Right.
So 23, I was like just over 100 innings. Last year, I was like 170. So through kind of climbing the ladder, I feel like I'm at least should be able to do what I did last year. If everything goes well, anything can happen in a throughout the year in sports or whatever. But I do feel confident to be able to, at least with the workload standpoint. Numbers are they kind of do what they do, right? But from a workload standpoint, I do feel like I'm ready to kind of either be exactly where I was last year, if not take a step forward.
Let me ask this: is Drake Baldwin the only guy that you've kind of gotten to his head about not shaking the catcher, or you working on that with everybody? Just trust the guy, put it down, let's execute. Like, where does that come from? Or is that just not overthinking it?
Yeah, so
Did you shake AJ? Matter of fact, did you
no,
shake?
No,
you
no,
never
no.
don't.
Well,
he
so
never
that
shook
was
AJ.
kind of my point. So
okay,
that it kind of plays into the story I'm about to tell. So I've never, when you grow up in Little League, like you're only really throwing fastballs, right? And then you get into high school and then your coaches are calling the pitches. You get into college, and I remember it was Dan Roselle. He was my pitching coach my freshman year, and I gave up some runs, had a bad outing, and he was like, what was going on? And I told him, I said, you called the wrong pitch. Oh my gosh. When I tell you he ripped into me, it was
old school ripping.
Oh yeah. It was a good one. This was a 2007.
Yeah.
And I just the point he kept trying to make was, it doesn't matter what pitch you throw, it's the location you throw it in. These guys are getting 60-mile-an-hour fastballs thrown to them during BP, and they're hitting the top of the cage, right? Grounding out to the shortstop. So he was very adamant about, I don't care what pitch is called, you have to execute. And then again, like I get drafted in the first round. I signed pretty quick. You can't be a first rounder calling the shots in the new clubhouse.
You don't want to be that guy,
right? And then I get to the big leagues really quick. AJ's my catcher. I can only imagine what that would have looked like.
And he was actually kind of scary back then.
Yeah.
Right? You didn't know, he was a little scary.
If you don't know him, he can be intimidating. So it was just very, very much like I had gone my entire career from the first pitch I ever threw in my life to the big leagues, and I've really never shaken a catcher off. So, and I'm kind of lazy. I don't want to have I like going to the weight room because it's fun. The training room doing shoulder program. Like I don't want to have to go study. The whole reason I left school was to play baseball. I don't like the studying is now done.
That's AJ's job. Pitcher coach's job.
Just
Yeah, exactly.
let me go out there and worry about competing and executing, and I'll let them figure out the smart logistics behind it.
Chris, you were smart. You know why? Because you learned from from Mark Burley. You learned from Mark Burley not to shake me off, because he shook me off one time. This is a true story. In 2002, we were in Japan. He was pitching, I think, in the Tokyo Dome, and he shook me off to a changeup to a left-handed hitter. It might have been Matsui, and he hit it off his head or his shoulder, and he missed the rest of that Japan series. And from that moment on, he never shook me off. So he taught you well, because if you would have shaken me off, you might have taken one off that ugly mug of yours.
It might have knocked some sense into me, actually, but and Burley was a good guy to be around early in my career, because not only with that aspect of not shaking stuff, but just kind of how he viewed bullpens and pace of play like that. Like I know some people have their thoughts on some of the new rules in baseball. Yeah. I've always been a big fan of the pitch clock, because Burley was no BS. It was
right here. Get in the box like this.
I'm standing on the mound. Get the ball and throw it. Like there's really nothing else that needs to happen. Like I don't know. And I remember him saying this. I don't know if it's going to be good, bad, or somewhere in the middle, but it's going to be quick.
Exactly.
No one wants to be here all night. So I definitely appreciated that. From him.
AJ, you got another one?
Well, I was just going to say, what are you going to do as an encore this year? I want to know, because Cy Young, Triple Crown, got to the postseason. What's an encore for Chris Sale this year?
I'd like to get another ring. That's again, like with last year and what kind of happened with, as a whole from our entire, team, the organization. We faced a lot of adversity, really from the jump. Our opening day lineup had like 4 innings together the entire year. and a lot of our big name guys went down with injury is, this and that. And, even you look at like Ozzy, he came back sooner, couldn't hit, left-handed.
Just strictly righty last year. Yeah.
And that was, putting himself out there to help the squad.
Wrist,
Mentor with his hip. Even JoJo. I mean, you look at JoJo, he pushed off a season-ending knee injury to stay out there for us, which is insane to me. So, I think, health being the key to all of this, we have a lot of those same guys back. The core of our lineup is back, and they're dangerous. And then you throw Ronnie on top of that. We get Spencer back. We get those guys back, early-ish in the year. I really, really like where we're at.
Okay. So I've been thinking, doing this whole new thing. Let's play a game. A blank. It's fill in the blank.
Okay.
The Braves get back to the World Series if they can blank.
Stay healthy, honestly, because, I mean, again, like you look at the season we had last year, and it was –
still made the playoffs, by the way.
Right. And it was guy after guy after guy. It just seemed like and like our everyday guys. I mean, you look at our guys and our lineup and specifically our position players, they play every day.
Yeah.
Olsen's over there at first base for the last 5 years or something crazy like that. Riley takes a lot of pride in posting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got Mikey out in center field, who's a freaking cheat code.
One of the best.
And he missed a lot of time last year too. And you saw when he came back and got his footing, it was go time. So, it's with some of our new additions, and I think with our pitching staff being where it is now and what we did last year and building on that, we're a dangerous team.
Hey, with all them grays in your beard, is this your last year? Are you going to retire after this? Because, I mean, we talked about Mark Burley. Mark Burley got him a statue in Chicago coming. You're going to miss that. You're not going to be able to come because, you might have to pitch that day. God forbid you skip a start and come to a statue. But are you going to retire at the end of the year? Because you're a free agent, right? So, I mean, gray beard, you're talking about, how hard it is to get out there every fifth day, man. Is this it for you?
Oh, man, that's a good question. Well, I think I'm kind of looking at this kind of like my rehabs and my off seasons, right? I can't get too far ahead of myself, right? Let's say I sit here right now and I say I want to play for 5 more years, and then my freaking arm falls off in June. What am I really doing? And or say, hey, this is going to be my last year. I thought last year was going to be my last year, and look how that worked out. So I think for me, it's more of let's take this a day at a time. I mean, I know it's like one of the most cliche things to say in baseball, but that truly helped me so much last year.
Be where your feet are.
Yeah, and appreciate where I'm at and what I'm doing, who I'm doing them with at the time, and just not, getting in over your skis can be a dangerous thing in baseball and in sports. I mean, this is such a long season, so it's like let's see where this goes, and if it's good, and then we see, and if it's not, I guess we'll still see.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you should say it. If you're going to win another Cy Young, then you should be like, oh, man, this is my last year. Because then you win another Cy Young, you'll go out on top. Your teammates can carry off after you win the World Series, and you could be like Rudy.
Right. Well, the World Series would be definitely more of an appetizing thing. I mean, again, the individual accolades are cool. There's no question. I definitely appreciate it, and I don't want to undermine it, but we're all here for one thing.
Facts.
No one in that clubhouse is talking about an MVP, a Silver Slugger, All-Star game. Like we all show up here and do the work to win a World Series. So if we won a World Series, that would be a pretty cool moment, and that's kind of what we're looking for.
If you win a World Series, I'm not letting you hang it up. You got to bring it back. I don't want to hear that. But no, listen, we appreciate it, man. We know you got a busy day. Best of luck this year, man. Let's
Appreciate
go.
it, guys.
Keep doing it. I'm glad I don't have to see you anymore.
Hey, I'm not doing this unless you're in person next time.
But listen, I've been 2 years in a row. I missed the Braves. Not my fault that I got kids.
And this is your old organization.
I don't. Not my fault that I have kids. It's exactly your fault you have kids. you get in that room.
Thanks, Taylor. Appreciate it. Love you, pal. Good luck. Have a great year, and I'll see you in San Diego.
That was great from Chris L. And hey, AJ, quick step aside and a thanks to Mint Mobile, for sponsoring the show today and for providing cheap ways for you to get a little bit of money off the wireless bill. Okay. Unlimited premium 3-month plans for you, $15 a month. And if you are trying to save a little bit of cash, you missed, I think you were, you weren't with us yesterday. If you're trying to save a little bit of cash and you're like, what, about half the owners in this sport, then you're probably really paying attention to the 45 seconds here.
Or if you're on the Angels, you don't like Mint Mobile either because you can't have a cell phone. So,
ooh, that's a good tie-in.
Angels also don't like Mint Mobile very much, but everyone else does. Everyone else loves it. It's a great deal. You keep your same number and you keep your same phone and you just use the same network. It's just different towers, same towers, just a different name.
If you like your money, Mint Mobile's for you. So make sure you go to mintmobile.com/territory. That's mintmobile.com/territory to check out those cheap plans. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month 5 GB plan required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Did you see the ratings in Tokyo?
Of course I did. Who do you think was calling the games?
Crazy. 25 million viewers. Averaged, not total, right? You're on YouTube right now. When you see the video that we post, that's the total at the end of the day. This is the average audience. Their population is about 125 mil. 20% of the country was watching this.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? I mean, it was on prime time, and you had 5 of the biggest stars in the history of Japan in this series. 3 of them pitched, or 2 of them pitched in game 1. The first time 2 Japanese-born guys had ever started their opening day game. It was awesome. It was an awesome atmosphere. It was an awesome experience, and we talked about it on the Game 1 broadcast with Jason Benetti. There was 45 or 50,000 people there, whatever the number was. There's going to be 5 million that say they were there in about 10 years. Every year it'll go up. Pretty soon there'll be 120 million people at this game. But no, what an awesome experience. And this is why MLB does these games. I love these games. I think they're great for the sport, and I think they're great for growing the game.
And anybody that's like, oh, MLB shouldn't be giving away their opening day to another country. I'm like, shut up. We can have 2 opening days. 2 teams can go out and play somewhere else. You know, other places around the world deserve to watch our great sport regular season style. And then still next week, we're fine. Okay. It'll still feel like opening day. All right, FT fam, we'll be right back. We're supposed to get Jurickson Profar soon. And then also Brian Snitker. All right, we're back. We're going to talk to Jurickson Profar coming up in just a moment. Of course, we'll get into, how he's feeling, and for the Braves, a little lineup boost, because eventually, and we can touch on it here, he'll have a friend with some pretty talented MLB attributes joining him in the outfield by the name of Ronald Acuña Jr. I know they're trying to slow play it. It's probably a difficult spot for them because he looks like he's ready, and they just want to make sure that he can fully run around in the outfield and not have to do any kind of load management action either, No,
agreed. They want him back healthy. They don't want to rush him back out there and have him, feel soreness or not be at full strength, because he went through this already. So one thing about Acuña, he knows what this is going to be like. So he knows what the rehab is like, what's it going to feel like, how to get through it, what it takes. I love that they're slow playing him. He's still going to probably get in 100 games for him this year, because one thing that the Braves do, they play their dudes every single day, and I love it. I love it as a player, man. I want my best 9 against your best 9, not this mix and match crap. My best 9 should be able to beat your best 9.
All right, well, that's perfect tee up for me to take us back to Braves camp right now with Cam sitting next to Jurickson Profar, who loves to play every single day, and he's going to do that here. Jurickson, great to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us. Are you excited to be part of the Braves?
Really excited. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, of course.
To join this team.
Now, I want to ask you about this. You're a guy, long journey, 10 years with the Rangers, Colorado, Oakland, Padres, some ups and downs. First, how proud are you of your journey? You've had some hiccups, some injuries.
Yes.
Been released. You've been through it all. But how proud are you at where you are today?
Very proud. Very proud. It's kind of, the how do I call it? A reflection of the hard work that I always did. Since I was a little kid, you know.
Okay, I love that. Talk about Ozzy Albies for a second, being here. A guy that watched you play, a guy, Little League World Series champ, so
Mhm.
you inspire so many from your country. How much fun or how much are you looking forward to playing with a guy that you're familiar with that looked up to you, so to speak, and also, getting Acuña back? Like how
Excited, very excited. You know, Ozzy and me go back. You know, we practiced together before I joined this team. You know, we always work out together in the off season. We used to fish together in Curacao, and now I got a chance to play with him on in the big leagues.
I know he likes to fish. Who's a better fisherman?
No, him.
For sure. Okay, so he out there.
He's the one inviting me
Okay,
sometimes.
because I know he loves to fish.
Yeah,
Okay, so he's
he's the
teaching you a
best.
little bit. Let's talk about this deal last year. Here you are, the last 2 years. You really figured something out. But how much of a chip did you have on your shoulders signing a 1-year deal worth $1 million? The offseason probably didn't go as you expected. Did you have a chip on your shoulder coming to last year to prove that, hey,
Yes,
I figured some things out?
Yes, I think, seeing like 1-year deals, it's like you come to the big league camp, they're just gonna give you one chance. The first month or so.
Yeah.
If you don't perform, if you don't do good, you're gone. And at this age, it's tough to get a job. So I went in there with a chip on my shoulder, just working hard and all the experience that I had, put it together. And
So
I
is
had a
that
great
what
season.
clicked? Did you change anything mechanically? Because the last 2
did.
years in San Diego, it's a different Jurickson Profar. It's the guy they thought you're going to be in Texas. Even though you competed at a high level, it clicked for you. Mechanical changes? Was it mentally?
Yes,
Was it the
I
outfield?
did.
What was it?
No. I did. I did some mechanical change, but also it's just the mindset, of this is it. Like I need to do it. I need to be laser focused, and the environment that I had in the clubhouse in San Diego. I had really good years with them since 2020, 22, and it was easier, in that clubhouse. And thanks God, I'm in the same place right now with this clubhouse. It's the same.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jurickson, first of all, you forgot one thing. You forgot to say hi to me since, I was there when you first came up and you were a little skinny punk kid, rookie, right? So back in Texas. So, you should say hi to your elders, right? So hello. And thank you for finally joining us.
Hi, AJ. How you doing?
After I've been chasing you for like 2 years to get you to come on, and you're always San Diego, Jurickson, we'd love to have you on. Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't speak English. I'm like, wait a second, you speak English better than I do. Don't give me that. That is some crap by you. All right? So let's get that out there first. All right? I love you to death. You were awesome. You always have a smile on your face. And I'm very happy for the success that you've had. But I'm just happy you finally hit home runs. Because when you came up, you were like a little slap hitter. And we were like, man, this dude's #1 prospect in baseball. I want to see you go deep. So finally, thank you for going deep and making all my dreams come true.
No, I had some homers. When I
you
came
did.
up.
You did. You
Yeah,
did. I know. No, listen, you're awesome. I'm very happy for you. What's it like, though? Because you came up as an infielder, right? And so now you're in the outfield full time. How do you make that transition? Because we see Jose Altuve right now. He's not doing great in the outfield. He's having a little bit of a hard time.
It's tough, but I think he's going to be better. And it's not that easy. You used to ground balls, and left field is I think the toughest one in the outfield. There's a lot of I think he's dealing with a lot of the Florida wind. I'm dealing with that same thing. So it's going to take some time, but I know he will be good.
Jurickson, first off, I wanted to reflect on last year a little bit more. I mean, you had an awesome season, obviously, individually, but the Padres were a really fun team to watch. And you guys were, in my mind, 1 win away from not just beating the Dodgers, but then many of us thought you would have been the World Series winner. Did you feel that way? Did you feel like,
Yeah,
if you guys took them
sure.
down one more time, you would have won the World Series?
For sure.
Mhm.
And they came back those last two games, and they were really really good, and I think that helped them too with the rest of the series that they played. It was a really really good battle between us and them.
I know it's. Go ahead, Scott. Go ahead.
I just
Scott.
wanted one more on the Padres there. How much fun was that team? It looked like you guys were having a blast all the time. Did you feel like you could truly be yourself there? And being that you've been in the
Yes,
league for a
yes,
while
I
too,
think
you could show all your enthusiasm.
yes. I think my game, the game that I played since Little League, kind of reflect with the Padres. Just having fun and at the same time, compete and give your 100% and try to win every night. And I think that culture that they have there, really really helped me. And I'm in the same situation right now, so that's why I really really want. If it wasn't the Padres, I really really wanted to be on this team because I think we have the same kind of players, the same kind of cultures, and these guys, already have won a lot of things already. So I'm looking forward to this season to compete with these guys.
Jurickson, last thing on Padres. Last year, you were involved in a couple dust ups, right? You hit a walk off home run and you celebrated. I don't care. You hit a walk off home run. Do whatever you want. The game's over. Like, how bad were you? Because the next day, first pitch, they smoke you, right? And the pitcher didn't get kicked out. The catcher didn't get kicked out. The other team's manager got kicked out. You got kicked out, and you're the one that got hit.
Well,
Shouldn't it been the other way around? I
it
don't
was
understand.
Mike Schmidt that got kicked out.
Yeah, like he didn't throw the pitch. Like I don't understand why that was. And then how much did it mean to you? Like you talk about the Padres and the atmosphere, they all had your back. They were like, screw this, we're gonna fight
Yes,
for our guy,
sure.
right? I mean, Manny was first one out there. Fernando, all these guys. Mike Schilt gets kicked out for you. How much did that mean to you as a player to say, man, this organization's got my back for real?
A lot. Like, it helped me. It helped me since day one. I think Mike Schill is my favorite manager by far. He had my back. He had the team's back since day one. And to have a manager like that, man, I can run through a wall for you any day.
I want to stay there. You talk about a manager like that. I know it's been, spring and you still got a lot of time to go. Do you get some of those same feelings when you think about Snit?
Yes.
How he carries himself?
Yes,
Yeah.
sure. And I'm looking forward to this season, under him and winning managers.
Yeah.
They're good.
Absolutely. They communicate great.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And I want to ask you this as well. So here we are going into this year, new digs, new team, a lot of changes in the game, right? We got the game clock is sped up, which I think is great. The bases are bigger. You've got pickoff rules. How much have you liked or disliked the ABS challenge this spring? Because that's something, as I'm watching, I can't tell you how many times I felt like calls were missing. I would have loved to give it one of these. Are you looking forward to that, or you just kind of want to keep the umpire where in the game? Like, where are you on that?
I don't know.
Okay.
Because I didn't have it yet. I played most of my games here, and here we don't have it. But I'm watching, almost every game. So guys are liking it, and for myself, I don't know.
You spend so much time smiling. I don't even think you worry about the umpires calling balls and strikes. So it's all right. Go ahead, Scotty.
Hey, so you're gonna be playing with Acuña soon when he returns. I know you recently were asked to compare him to Soto. Can you relay your thoughts on the comparison?
Good one.
No, I didn't. Hey, that I didn't say that. First of all, I didn't compare Acuña to Soto. First of all,
So what happened?
but I said Acuña, Tatis, and and Otani are on a level of their own, and then they put Soto in there, and say that I said that Acuña is better than Soto. But for me personal, like those three, when they're healthy, it's just it's just different. They can do, like, if you can steal 70 bases and hit 40 homers, come on, man.
Exactly.
Like,
and he could play center field if he wanted to. You got Mike
Yes.
Harris out there, but he's that talented.
yes, like it's just different. Same as Otani. You can pitch, you hit, how many homers he hit? He did 50-50. So, like, who can do that?
Before
Nobody.
Before I let
Hey,
Scott
stay
go,
with
I
your
have to
chat.
ask
No,
you-
Cam.
Bro, Mark asked the
Bro,
question: Is
bro,
it more?
bro,
Is
bro,
it,
stay
oh,
with
is it
your
more
chat.
impressive? Hold on, I want to ask this because this is a real question. Is it more impressive that he pitches how he does, or that he hits how he hits? I had no answer for it.
No, he hits how he hits.
You
I
think that's more impressive than
Yes,
the pitching?
yes.
There you go. There you go. All right, go ahead, AJ. I had to
Bro,
ask that.
say it. Acuña's your teammate now. Soto's in the division. Say, listen, Acuña is better than Soto because he's on my team. He's on, like last year, Tatis and Manny. They were on your team.
I don't
They were better.
compare. I
Soto
just
went.
put those three
Soto
up
went
there,
away.
and that's it.
So, Soto went away. So last year, Manny, Tatis, your boys on your team, Jackson Merrill, right? There's Higgy. Those are your guys. They're better than anyone else because they're on my team. They're on Profar's team. So now Acuña's on your team. Ozzy's on your team.
Hey, I play with Soto too, and he's a great hitter, But
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
like I said, those three guys
Everything.
everything.
Last one, real quick. Jurickson, how are you feeling? You're playing today?
Yes, I'm playing today. I'm back today. My first game in, I don't know, 2 weeks, but I'm feeling good.
Awesome. Well, good luck. We're excited to see you in the regular season too. Thanks for stopping by. Don't be a stranger or AJ's going to cry. Thanks, Jurickson. Good to see you.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you. All right. We'll be right back, FT. I forgot about that whole thing with the Nats last year. Remember? It was weird. So I'm like, if you're going to do that and you ever celebrate anything on your own, everyone's just going to be like, what are we doing?
That was the
And they did.
Remember the Tim Anderson, Salvador Perez thing when Tim Anderson hit a home run and flipped his bat, and Salvi gave him a lecture about we don't do that. But then Salvi hit a home run and throw his bat up, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's just having fun." Like, what are we doing? You can't yell at other people if you do the same thing. That was one of the things. Like, I mean, I did a lot of bat flipping, a lot of stupid stuff in my time. But you know what? If someone else did it, if you hit a walk-off homer, you can do whatever you want because the game's over. Right? Like when Prince Field, remember they did the bowling pin thing, and in spring training, the Giants hit them. Like, what are we doing? We want to have fun. We want to celebrate the game. So I don't know. I love Profar. He was great. I mean, it's funny to me. I look back and played with him and like Martin Perez in 2013, right? Here we are in 2025 and these dudes are still doing it. So it's awesome to see them and see some of these guys. And Profar is one of the best, man. Always smiling, always happy. He went through some ups and downs. And people forget he was the number one prospect ahead of like Bryce Harper and all these other guys. Manny, he's had a hell of a career. People can say it was a disappointment. I disagree. He's had a hell of a career for a guy.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, he's a late bloomer. He's figured some things out later in his career. He's an on-base machine these days. He was at least top 10 on-base percentage, if not better, last year. So I think he's going to be a great addition. Like he mentioned, if I wasn't going to end up back in San Diego, this is a perfect spot. Winning team, guys he knows, feels like he can be himself. Yeah, I'm stock is high for me. I'm in on Profar continuing the run this year. All right, we'll be right back. We're going to expect Grant Holmes soon, Brian Snitker, and we got plenty of topics to cover too.
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
Well, we got fresh quotes from both camps in the ongoing saga between Vladdy Jr. and his only team that he's ever known, the Blue Jays. So let's start with Vladdy because this stood out. Cam, we'll start here and then we'll get the reply from the front office. Vladdy said that he thinks he'll be in the 700 million range if he puts up an MVP caliber season. And the quote about the other side is, if I have a bad year, I see my floor at 500 mil. You got to respect how open he's been over the last couple weeks. I mean, we always ask for that here and feel like we don't get enough of it in baseball. But what did you think of the comments, Cam?
I absolutely loved it. I thought it was awesome when you look at what Juan Soto did and you look at what Vladdy has done. You look at Vladdy's floor year era, probably 29 of the first basemen that would take that. So, I think he's looking at it realistically. And what I love the most, Scott, that we didn't play is he did an interview that I saw yesterday sitting down with, I don't know, it was some type of Spanish radio station or TV station. And he actually even said, when the time comes, I'll entertain every team, including the Yankees. So he's starting to understand his value and starting to see what's out there waiting for him. And again, his floor, when you talk about floors and ceilings, I think he hit this nail on the head. At his age, his ability, he's going to get better. Genetics are real. It's in him. He was born to play this game. I thought it was great, especially for the fact that he's letting the Blue Jays know this is what it's going to cost you if you want to bring me back here because somebody's going to give it to me.
Mm-hmm. Let's get the other side. Ready for this? So we had Mark Shapiro, the team president, talking today. Quote, I think we're going to sign him. I think we're going to extend him. The reason I feel that way is because we have such a clear alignment on the desired outcome. Do you feel like that's the case, AJ?
What did I say a couple weeks ago when this first started? Vladdy, guess what he did? He's so smart. He put him in a corner because he said he gave him the parameters to a deal, and then he put it on the organization. And then guess what? The Blue Jay fans are like, we got to get this done. It was so smart what Vladdy did. And for him to continue to say what he's saying is awesome. I love what he's doing. He's just backed the Blue Jays into a corner where they're like, man, because when do you ever hear a team come out and say, well, I think we're going to sign him because we align? Well, that ain't what Vlad Guerrero said. He said y'all didn't align because if you guys aligned, you already would have had a deal done. So he just keeps throwing these parameters out there. And what he's doing is he's making the Blue Jays, I mean, I hate to say this about the Blue Jays because they got a lot of money. He's making them look kind of cheap, and he knows it. And now the organization's starting to see it, and the fans are starting to see it. And they're like, wait a second, we can't sign this guy because of this or because of this. He's told us what you want. Go out and get it done. And the front office is in the hot seat for me here now because he's put him on the spot.
Hey, also, Scotty, let me add this too, Scotty. Think about this. Let's go back to 4 years now? The Blue Jays have been trying their best to sign a superstar. We know what the Juan Soto offer was that was out there. So I think Vladdy look back and go, who better than me? When you talk about they haven't been able to get anybody to come here. I'm here right now. This is my time to take advantage of the situation that the Blue Jays are in. So it's smart on Vladdy and his team to go ahead and put that out there. I think he's playing the business game the right way.
On the leverage side, he certainly got it because it doesn't look like Bo Bichette is going to end up there long term. And after that, it just starts to look bleak. There's not a ton coming on the way in the farm system. It's a super competitive division. Do you feel like, AJ, these comments indicate that the Blue Jays might try and up their offer and get something done, even though there was that fake deadline put in place that they weren't going to talk about negotiations?
Well, wasn't that put in by Vladdy, not by the Blue Jays?
Yeah.
The Blue Jays, listen, they'd love to get this done anytime they can because it's a great PR move. And I think Shapiro and Atkins are in their last year of their deal, both of them, the president and the GM. If not, it's close to their last year. So they want to get this done because they want it to look good on them and then go to ownership and say, see, we got Vlad done. No one thought we could do it, but here we did it. So I think they want to get it done. And I also believe that the deadline was put out there because Vlad didn't want to do it. But if they come to him with a big enough offer, guess what happens? The deadline goes away and he signs a contract, stays with the Blue Jays. Would I like to see him be a Blue Jay for life? Absolutely, because he grew up in Canada. He understands what the Canadians are about. The Canadians love him because they feel like he's a homegrown son with his dad. So the deadline was kind of fake to me. But at the same time, they need to get this done for the Blue Jays organization and for their fans because the fans deserve it.
Yeah. And if you're Toronto, I mean, they're trying to compete this year, obviously, even though they didn't get the quote superstar over the last few years, they did some good work this offseason. They should be a better team. I mean, I know there's concerns about if the pitching staff will hold up. I'm like, that's concerns with almost every team. I mean, Andres Gimenez is going to make them a lot better on the run prevention side. Santander is, in my mind, a huge addition, and I think he's going to have a chip on his shoulder this coming season too. I mean, he had a great year last year with the Orioles. The deal looks nice, but it's actually worth almost half of what it actually looks like in net present value. So anyway, let's step aside because Pierce Johnson is ready to go. Braves reliever is going to join us in the next few minutes. All right, AJ, you weren't on with us yesterday, but Coby Mayo was frustrated about getting optioned, and then he released comments on social media that he said that it was not directed against the Orioles or the Tides, the AAA team. He said, I'll be the first to tell you I didn't do enough this spring to break camp with the big league team. I was frustrated in the moment. Things were taken out of context. As a competitor, this lit a fire in me, and I will make sure I work even harder to get back to the big leagues and help the team win games as soon as possible. I'll never settle for anything less than the best version of myself. Did he have to apologize?
I didn't think he did. I thought what he said was dead on. I thought what he said was, hey, I've done everything I can. And basically what he said is I'm in a no-win situation, right? If I go back to AAA and do well, they're going to say, well, you already dominated AAA. You should dominate. And let's say he goes, God forbid, he goes back there and doesn't do as well. They're going to be like, well, see, we told you he's overrated. He's overmatched. He shouldn't be. This is why he didn't make the big league team. So I think what he said was right. He has to apologize and say, change it because he doesn't want people to think he doesn't like the Orioles. He doesn't like Norfolk. But I get where he's coming from because if you do the numbers that he put up in AAA and you look at it, you're like, man, I would think that I don't have to go back there because I have nothing to prove is basically what he said. But this is where we've talked about the Orioles over and over again is you have a logjam of prospects. And if he got traded, I mean, he looks at his other guys that have been traded away from Baltimore. They get to play in the big leagues every day. He's going back to AAA because they don't have room for him. This is where you start getting a prospect logjam. And this is why I think we've been so adamant for the Orioles to go out and make some moves to clear up spaces in the big leagues and also help their own big league team.
And also, I mean, this is part of this show. Players are human beings. He's crushed it in AAA for a couple years. He's going, okay, I didn't have a great spring, and here I go again. I'm going to have to prove myself. It gives the team a great excuse to kind of keep me down there for a while. Also, the way the system works in baseball is the younger you get called up into the big leagues, the more on your earning side. I know that's not necessarily the top of mind topic at all times, but it is a real thing. And you feel like you're looking around the league saying, if I was on 26 other teams, I'd be in the big leagues right now or whatever it is, right? If I'm not on the Orioles or the Dodgers.
What was the guy who got Sowers? What was his name?
Kyle Stowers and
Kyle Stowers.
And Connor Norton, both not as good as Coby Mayo.
But all these guys who got traded to the Brewers and to the Marlins, they're in the big leagues. Coby Mayo last year had a 960 OPS, I think, in the International League. 920 OPS. Right. 926 OPS in the International League. What else does he have to prove in AAA? He's proved he could do it. He didn't do great in spring training. I don't know. It's a weird situation.
I'm with you.
I want to talk about y'all. I think everybody's sleeping on y'all. Man, like y'all didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Here we go. We're ready. We're live. Pierce Johnson joining us right now. We're on TV. We're all over the place. Pierce, great to have you. I mean, how can I not say hello and recognize the shirt? So what's up and what's with the shirt?
Well, I was a starter throughout the minor leagues, but you know how most of us that are relievers now do get pawned off into the bullpen. But, it's just kind of a fun little thing. I'm kind of a class clown here, so I thought this was pretty fitting for me to wear.
Hey, let's stay there. Not the typical bullpen repertoire, though. You're the guy that you use all your stuff, and you are not scared to go to any pitch any time. Was that a part of transitioning to the bullpen? Was that a part of the process? Or are they still going, hey, you got a lot of pitches that you can get guys out with? Like, what's your approach out there?
Well, when I was a starter, I was mixing in the changeup, trying to establish that and all sorts of other things. But I was throwing 4 pitches, and I was not effective, right? And then when they put me in the pen, they were like, "Hey, your breaking ball is your best pitch. Obviously, you have a good fastball. We're going to just kind of exaggerate those. Go out and throw as many breaking balls as you want, and then kind of pitch off that." And I feel like everything kind of fell into place when I finally bought into that.
You know, coming in here to you, I told you the vibes were great. I know you guys had a show and go. Snit gets it, but there were a few guys still kind of bouncing around. You know, a little pep in their step. You guys seem extremely excited about being in camp. You guys are healthy. A lot of people aren't talking about what you guys did injured and talked about what the bullpen, you know, was able to do. You guys were lights out for this team last year. Where are you now on that? And how do you feel about, you know, not a lot of new faces, but the chemistry and the energy around camp this season?
Well, I mean, that was one of the reasons I wanted to come back here is because the chemistry is so good here from top to bottom. I mean, it's true. Snit's going to give you the truth. You know, Alex is going to give you the truth. And really, as a baseball player, just hit me with the truth pill, whether it's good or bad. I just want to know so I can work on what I need to work on. And then you show up in the locker room and it's just great vibes. It's got really good team chemistry. Everybody gets along. It's just a really good, you know, collective group. And I think it's fun to show up to the yard every day, whether you're playing well or not. You know, you're going to have fun at the yard that day and have a chance to win.
Pierce, when you know, we're talking about your repertoire and this and that. Tommy Canley, who's a frequent guest on here, through 75 changeups in a row in the postseason. Now, you throw over 70% curveball. Have you ever gone to like Cranny and Snit and said, you know what, guys, I'm going to go Lance McCullers and just throw all curveballs?
There were actually a couple outings last year. I did go all curveballs, and it was good. I was successful. I mean, it is my best pitch. That's what got me to the big leagues. That's what's kept me in the big leagues. But I definitely told them, I'm like, hey, we're going to need to dial that one back a little bit because come August, September, after throwing that many curveballs, you know, forearm's a little sore. So we're going to have to mix in the heater a little bit. But we definitely had some conversations about it.
Hey, Pierce, I want to jump in about, you know, last year. So how crazy was that last stretch for the team? Obviously didn't end up getting in, but not just what you guys went through, but also this whole scheduling snafu. What do you remember from that? And do you guys wish that it was planned out better? Because we were all screaming on a show like this, hey, bad weather in the forecast. This looks like it's going to be a mess. Did you guys feel that way too?
Yeah, a little bit. It just kind of stinks you got to play a doubleheader on the last day of the year, which that was bad memories for me because I ended up giving the bomb to Lindor to send us to game 2 where we had to win or go home. And, you know, it was just hard because then you got to travel cross country. Then you got to play in San Diego against a team that's hot that had a day off. Everybody in the pen had thrown. You know, our hitters just had 18 innings of baseball. It was just something that, you know, you just kind of got to roll with the punches, sadly, but it did make it hard on us. But at the same time, we made it to the playoffs when we were really banged up. And, you know, it was the next man mentality. And I think Holmes and Schwellenbach and, you know, Eli White and just all these guys really came up and filled in those roles so well that if it wasn't for those guys doing what they did, we wouldn't have made the playoffs.
Hey, Pierce, what was that last day like? Because we talked to guys on the Diamondbacks about that last day where they were watching you guys and they were hoping the Mets or you guys swept that doubleheader. You guys lose the first one, which was an unbelievable game, by the way. I mean, I'm sorry that you gave up the home run, but it was an unbelievable game as somebody that was watching as a baseball fan. And then you go to game 2 and you're thinking, man, we got to win. The Mets are like, well, we're going to take this game off. And it was a close game. How nervous were you guys during that second game saying, gosh, we have to win? But, man, we used a lot of our bullets in the first game. And the Mets have a bunch of guys out there that are just happy to be out there playing a big league game.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's just one of those things where you know you have to go up to the plate with a good approach every single bat because every pitch matters, and it's just so much more exaggerated that day because it literally is win or go home. And as the bullpen, you know, we were all ready to go 2 games in one day. I mean, we were all talking down there like, hey, whatever we got to do, we got to do it because anything can happen in the playoffs, right? Like, who's to say that, you know, Smith-Shawver doesn't throw a shutout game 1 and, you know, our hitters come through and, you know, score a couple runs and now we're up a game in San Diego or we tie the second game. And it's just one of those things where everybody just kind of collectively came together and we just, you know, put it together at the end, but it was a close game till the very end.
You had a good year last year. Great year, first year with the Braves last year. Have they told you your role this year? Are you slotted to be that setup guy for Iglesias? And if you are, how does that change your mentality? Or you go out there again, we talk about your best pitcher, bread and butter, and then too, the league makes adjustments. Are you planning on mixing in a few more heaters with that, right? You know, this year?
Can I tell you my scouting report? I don't want to
No,
give away
no,
too
matter
many
of fact,
secrets.
yeah,
I don't want
matter
to
of
get too many
fact,
secrets.
yeah, no matter of fact, the division is watching.
No, but I mean, yeah, I definitely told him, I was like, look, I can't throw that many curveballs in a year. I definitely want to mix it up. I like my fastball. I really like my cutter. So it's two things that I can implement more and maybe get guys off the curveball just a little bit, because it got me a lot of ground balls, a lot of double plays. But I'm definitely anxious for the role. I don't know what my role will be. I mean, I'm just happy to be a part of a really, really good team that's tight knit. We're built to win. And whatever role they put me in, I plan on running with it and doing the best I can.
Pierce, you grew up in Colorado, right? You grew up in Colorado.
Yes,
Were
I
you a
did.
Rockies fan growing up?
Actually, my dad worked for the Padres growing up, so I really was a Padres fan. And then obviously moving to Colorado, that is the hometown team, so I got to go to a lot of games. So I'm pretty lucky to be able to play for the two teams that I cheered for growing up.
Yeah, agreed. No, but my question is more about the Rockies, right? Like, you pitch there, you know what it's like to pitch at Coors Field. And then you mentioned a competitive team. We get on the Rockies all the time for not – I don't want to say they're not trying, but they're happy, they're content. They get their 2.5 to 3 million fans a year, and the fans it's a great experience. They have Dinger coming out of eggs, and they have the Christmas tree farm in center field, and they've got Blue Moon, and they've got all these cool things going at Coors Field, but they don't win. What do the Rockies need to do to and I know you don't know the answer to this, but I always say on here they need to try something crazy like the Rays did. They started shifting and did openers and just bought in. But what do you think the path for the Rockies to win? Is it go back to the Blake Street Bombers, or they just try to outmash everybody and have a bunch of dudes that throw sinkers? Do they need to figure out a pitching type? Because it seems like they're always back and forth. Oh, we need sinkers. We need high fastballs. We need good defense. We need home run hitters. What's the successful path for the Rockies to be a consistent winner?
I think today, with how prevalent analytics is, I think they should figure out what the best pitches are in Colorado and then target those pitchers that have that stuff so that their stuff is maximized on the road, and then help guys transition, because when you're pitching in Colorado at altitude and then you got to go to St. Louis in the middle of summer and it's super humid, and all of a sudden your breaking ball is doing more and your fastball is riding and your sinker is doing different things, like having somebody to help you adjust to the elements and figure out, hey, when you're in Colorado, this is what you need to do. And when you're in, sea level and humidity, this is what you need to do. When you're in cold, hot, whatever it may be, kind of figure out that thing. And then when it comes to the hitting side, I think, Blake Street Bombers, that was an incredible lineup. I mean, everybody was batting over 300. Everybody had 30 plus pumps. That was a really cool team to watch, right? But with how big the outfield is in Colorado, and then you also have a big outfield in Arizona, you gotta, San Diego plays fairly deep at night, LA, depending on how the weather is. I mean, you got to have a really fast outfield. I think that changes things, and Doyle's fit that role really well. I think you have a solid defense to kind of minimize the damage that you can, and then figure out how you can get a pitching staff to maximize their stuff at altitude and kind of target those guys. And maybe even like the CJ Cron type, where he's kind of not having success maybe in Anaheim or whatever, and then all of a sudden he comes to Denver and he's banging, right? He lets the ball elevate and he gets to trot around the bases.
Nice
so
teammate. That's a great comp right there. I like that. Now, let me ask you about this. Talk about the analytics and the information, because a lot of people think analytics is something more than information, right? Mm-hmm. It's just information about how you're going to have success. What's the difference? You talk about analytics and information here in San Diego.
San Diego was really analytically driven. It was kind of cool. Like after every outing, we got a little report card in our locker, and it gave you like spin rate, spin access, release height, release, length or whatever. It's just, they had everything for you, so you could kind of go back and circle which ones, like, hey, today I was really good with my fastball, really good with my curveball, and you can kind of see like, all right, now this is where I need to be with those pitches, And I think we have it here too, but we're more of an old school, like, hey, just trust your eye, kind of do that thing. We have all the data, but when I was in San Diego, we were very prevalent when it came to the analytics side.
What about Colorado? You didn't mention Colorado. We just talked about them. Where were they analytically? Were they high, they low, or they were somewhere in the middle?
Fairly low, but I mean, they still had the information when you needed it, right? If you were somebody who was really kind of, driven to look at those kind of things, because now everywhere you go, it's you throw a bullpen, there's going to be a track man. You're throwing, before the game on the mound, just a couple pitches, there's a track man. There's edgetronic, seeing how your release point is and all those kinds of things. And we didn't have it as much in Colorado. I think that's something that if they really did implement that would be kind of a game changer for some people, especially for the young guys too, because I feel like colleges and even high schools now are just absolutely abusing that thing where every time those kids are touching the mound, they're reading some sort of data, whether they know how to read it or not.
I was going to ask that. Reading the data is important. You talked about all those little things. Which one of those things for you are like the cues you talk about, the spin rate, the extension, where you look at it and you go, okay, I was a little off today because this wasn't there or that wasn't there. Because I think it's important that these young kids understand which numbers they need to be looking at. Right. Because you don't need to look at all of them, but which numbers for you are you that it reels you back in and gets you back on track.
I like to see extension and make sure I'm getting out there far enough. Spin rate, obviously, especially for my curveball. Like I live and die on that pitch, right? I got to make sure that is spinning and spinning tight. And then for my fastball, it's the tilt or the spin axis. So if I'm anywhere like a 130, I have that arm side run and it's kind of that non-competitive fastball. But if I'm 115 to 1 o'clock, maybe even 12:45, I have the better ride. I throw it through my target. I'm more competitive with that. So I don't dive too much into it, but I know which ones that I need to look at.
Do any of those tell you I might be fatigued a little bit?
I think definitely extension. It's one of those things where like if you're not getting extension, the ball's not going to be, I might have the pop out of the curveball or the four seam might not have the same ride to it. I might not get that extra spin at the end. And I feel like that's something for me that I can almost tell when a hitter's really on one of those pitches. It's like, maybe there's something off today and we need to take a look at this.
I love that.
Hey, Pierce, last one from me. I mean, you pitched in Japan, right? You pitched for Hanshin?
Sorry, say that again?
Who did you pitch for in Japan? It was the Tigers, right?
Yeah, Tigers.
Okay. So what did you think just now of the Tokyo series and where baseball has come from even, not that long ago, was it 5-ish years ago, to where we are now with, of course, all of the talent coming from there and the place just being baseball bananas?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they treat their baseball like we treat our NFL, right? Like it was absolutely incredible. But I'm super stoked that especially the Tigers, right? They went 2-0, beat the Dodgers and the Cubs. And so that was pretty cool. I was cheering for those guys. I was, messaging one of my buddies on the team and my translator, and we were talking. But I love it, man. And I wish more people could experience the Japanese kind of feel and atmosphere. It's so different. It's so unique. It's they truly cherish their baseball and their players. And it's cool to see because obviously we brought over some superstars from there, and I still think there's some really good ones to come too. But really, it's kind of putting Japan back on the map in the baseball aspect, and I think there's going to be more guys to come, and I think some bats are soon to come our way. Yeah, there's some talent over there, and I don't think people understand that there's some really good baseball over there, and guys have had success over here. I mean, obviously Ohtani, and then you bring over Sasaki and Kikuchi's here, Darvish. I mean, it's really good pitching, and I think there's some hitters to come soon.
Last thing I want to ask you, I played for the Braves for a year. AJ was my teammate. But as you've been here, can you just talk about, like, what is the Braves way? Like, what does that mean to you as you've seen the history, how cherished this franchise is? Like, what is the Braves way?
It's being professional on and off the field. It's showing up every single day, getting your work done, and then going out and playing every single day. Like, look, guys are going to take their days, much deserved, but we don't change our lineup ever. I mean, we were platooning left field, and that was like the only thing. And then your catcher, but your catcher's not going to catch 162, right? But man, I mean, everybody here's a workhorse. They do their job. They show up every single day, prepared, ready to go. And I tell everybody, like the first day I got here, it was crazy. Like the game was at 7:20. It was like 7 o'clock and like music was playing, but it wasn't bumping in the locker room. And you just saw everybody just kind of like at one time, everybody just put their uniform on, grabbed their stuff and went out. And it was just like, they're ready to go to war.
Cool.
Like there's a battle today and everybody's dialed and ready to go. There's no, I mean, we keep everybody accountable, but you don't really have to when everybody's so dedicated to their craft and they just show up every single day and they just do their job. And everybody seems to pick each other up too, which, obviously team chemistry is huge.
Love that.
Hey, you can't put us in the same category as where Pierce is at.
I know, bro.
We were just trying to win. We were trying to win a game. They're trying to win a World Series, okay?
AJ,
so that was a different feel. I was there when
Pierce
Snake got his first win, and we gave him a beer shower in Pittsburgh. And we were wondering if we were ever going to win another one.
Hey, at one point, AJ, we're in the clubhouse. We're like, come on, guys, let's do this. Come on, we don't want to lose 100. AJ goes, What's the difference between losing 99 and 100? Same thing.
Yeah, seriously.
Come on, guys. We don't lose 100.
Yeah.
No, thank you, brother. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
Hey,
man.
thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks,
you, guys.
Pierce. Appreciate it. This was great. All right, we'll be right back. Let's be nice and simple today as we're getting ready for the season to start. BetMGM futures on the league of the winning team in the World Series. Do you think a National League team or an American League team will win the World Series? We're at minus 165 for the NL versus plus 130 for the American League. Man, I still like the NL, and you know that's steep for me.
This is a joke. This is a trick question, right? This is a trick question. Which team do I like? Let's start. Dodgers, Phillies, Braves, Mets, Diamondbacks, Padres. Then when do we get to an American League team that can compete? Yankees, Red Sox, Orioles, Astros. Not to like at least five teams in the National League before you get to an American League team. So I think this is a no-brainer. The odds suck, and they know it. That's why. But I still think a National League team should win the World Series. Will they? I don't know. But I think right now it's pretty easy that you would pick the National League.
I'm with you. If you're looking at this going, hey, I think I've got some value here. American League plus 130. No, not for me. If minus 165 is too steep for you, that's okay. But yeah, I'm with you. I mean, we felt this way last year. And what happened?
It played out. Exactly right. We said. I mean, think about it. The Diamondbacks won 89 games last year and didn't get in the postseason. They're better this year.
They were a damn good team last year. I mean, they won 83 the year before, and they made it to the World Series.
Yes.
Obviously, the Rangers won at that point. But I do think the National League is having their moment. This is like the golden era right now for the National League, which, it's been the American League for a long time over the last, 30 years or so. There's been a lot of American League love. You were. But you guys had the edge for a long time. Obviously, it's not like the AL won every year. I'm just saying, even when you got to the All-Star game, you'd be like, oh, man, the AL just looks like they have more talent. I also think that the DH was a factor. You couldn't – yeah, you had that. You also had obviously the Yankees were big boys for a while. The Red Sox have had some really good runs. But and the Astros. And the DH helps on the offensive side of things. Sometimes you'd look at an AL lineup and be like, they've got a little bit extra punch. You couldn't sign every player. That's a vet that's got a good bat. I mean, David Ortiz could never play in the National League, just as an example.
You're right.
Think about it when you're looking at this one. If you are, hey, there's a no sweat parlay. Drive to the rim with a no sweat parlay token. Log in to get yours at BetMGM. Obviously, it's a big day, March Madness time, baby. If you don't win your bet, you get a stake back in bonus bets. Gambling problem or concern? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. We've got Braves manager Brian Snitker with us right now on Foul Territory. Snick, great to see you. You're almost there. We're almost at the start of the regular season. Yes, decision time. Have you been figuring out how everything is going to line up?
Yeah, no, we're still probably down to the numbers that we're going to take to Scottsdale right now, and it may go down to the last game and the off day once we get to San Diego, actually, before we finalize the roster.
Now, is that more from a rotation standpoint, a bullpen standpoint, or even from a position player that you may be looking at to help?
Probably more bullpen and rotation, kind of figuring out how we're going to maneuver the last two spots in the rotation, who that's going to be. I mean, we're still not 100% sure. And then the bullpen too. We got some good options right now. I think this is probably one of the best non-roster type situations that we brought in with a lot of guys that have been there, done that. And so we're going to use these final games to determine.
When you talk about some impressive guys that you've seen this camp, what do you have on De Los Santos? Because watching him this spring, a lot of talk about certain guys, but that's a guy that I look at that I go, he could really help the Braves in a big way this season.
And we, you know what, we feel the same way. There's a guy that he's been through the wars, and he's a big, strong guy. Threw really good the other day over in Clearwater against the Phillies. And it just like we brought Hector Neris in relatively late, and we played against him for years here. Yeah. And both of those guys have, let's say they're established guys that have been through the wars and done this before, and we're just kind of wanting to keep seeing those guys, and we'll probably run it all the way to the end before we make that determination.
I asked this to Rocco Baldelli the other day. How important, and you're an old school guy, which I really appreciate. Mm-hmm. And we see a lot of times in camps, guys don't get as many at-bats as they once did. How important is it for you to have your guys, I know healthy one, but out there on the field together during spring to just kind of create that chemistry and camaraderie that we know they have? We watched them 2 years ago, one of the most prolific offenses, but
right.
How important is it for you to say, hey, guys, we got to get out there and get our reps in and do it together as well?
Well, they do. And then, we're right now, like I took all the guys over last night after the off day, and they're probably going to play it out to the end right now because it's time to start playing every day. And it's hard to play 9 innings in these games. They just start dragging, and then you're facing guys you don't want your guys to face and things like that. So, but we're, they're back in where we're going to play every day with them. And I think it is important, and I got kind of the last few years and how many at bats guys from the past have had. And everybody's different. But I think it's helped us, in the past few years to get off to good starts because they are ready to go.
Snit, I got to ask you, I got your game in San Diego early, so act like you know who I am when you see me. Shake my hand, maybe put a smile on your face.
Oh, I might even give you a hug.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, man, I would be honored if you would give me a hug. Anna, there's the smile I was waiting for, right? All right, so I want to know who's pitching your third game, because the first game obviously will be, Smith Schwarber. Second game might be, Schwellenbach. Can we get Chris Sale game 3 so I can talk, great about
so you
my
can do
former
him?
teammate?
Yeah. No, how about, what? I've already went out there and I screwed up and gave him the opening day start already. So that's going to be hard to come back on that one. But yeah, you know what? If you're doing the game 3, you're going to like it. You're going to have a lot of fun. And the guy you're going to see is pretty good.
That's a fact. I want to ask you, I want to stay there. You talk about being healthy. I asked Chris Sale, I gave him a game. I said, let's play a game. Fill in the blank. I said, the Braves can win a World Series if they do what? And he said, stay healthy.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to control that as a manager. Things happen. What are you trying to do, even in camp, even during the season, to try to do your best to make sure these guys stay on the field?
Well, I mean, that's the correct answer, stay healthy. I didn't realize, and I lived through it last year, but they ran something on the network, and they had a list of all the guys in the games we lost, and it was even more than I had remembered. Yeah. But I think it's stay healthy. I think we'll keep an eye on the long, because it is a long season, and I used to not be big on this, but given extra days rest, I think is good with these guys, especially, your starters.
Yeah.
We'll monitor the bullpen, the guys, we don't usually use them 3 days in a row till we get down to, in September when, you get into that, we got a win mode. And, but I think we keep an eye on the fact that it is a long season. These guys, the position players, are all built to play every day. I mean, that's kind of where they're at and how they operate. So, but everybody's going to deal with injuries. It's a part of it. And you just hope you can minimize how many guys that you do lose at a time. And because I know personally, I'd love to get in the playoffs again with a healthy roster.
Snit, what's going on with the catcher situation? I know Murph's out for a few weeks here. Is Baldwin your guy? Is he going to be the opening day guy? And who's going to be his counterpart?
He's done a really, he's gotten better and better, and I'm treating it as he is. I mean, I'm giving him Sale and Lopez and Schwellenbach and all those guys, trying to get him to catch the relievers. He's done great. I mean, he's continued to improve. Murph's still a ways away. We signed James McCann yesterday, and we're going to get him into camp, I think, tomorrow, but he'll be delayed, but just another depth piece. But as it looks right now, I mean, he's going to get the starting nod, and I've been very impressed. The guy, and I asked the pitchers, we asked them, and they've all got rave reviews about how they feel when he's behind the plate, the games that he's calling, and His throwing is better now than what I remembered in previous camps. Handles himself really well, and he's, it's good to have another left-handed option catching again.
You talk about getting healthy. How optimistic were you the other day watching Spencer Strider go out there? And Snit, as a competitor, how hard is it for you to go, wait, is he ready? Because he looked pretty darn good.
He sure did. I mean, it'd be kind of easy to fast forward everything if we're not careful. But yeah, he was really good. And you're always happy for the guy, I think, that goes through that. They put a lot of work into that. I mean, when they rehab and they spend a lot of time, just in the gym by themselves and checking all the boxes. And, I think that first outing back is a pretty emotional time for all of them, even a guy like Spencer. And he, like you said, it was just stupid how good he looked the other day. So, and the biggest thing there is he's throwing his side today. So, if he feels great today, then that's even a bigger plus.
One thing I've always said about you, I've had an opportunity to be around a lot of good guys. I thought you were always a guy who took time to kind of make yourself personable to the guys, right? Get to know guys. I know it's been, a short camp so far. We're getting towards the end of it. But Jurickson Profar, a guy who the last 2 years seems to be an infectious spirit in the clubhouse. What have you seen thus far, and what are you liking about having him a part of this clubhouse organization?
Number one, the first day when we got him, I called him, and I could hear the kids in the background, and I text Ozzy afterwards, and I thought I was talking to Ozzy. He sounded very similar, and everybody, when we're doing our homework, and he is that. He's an infectious personality. He's got a smile on his face, and the biggest thing I like about him, he likes to play, and he doesn't want to sit, and he wants to play. And I'm glad, today that we're going to get him back out there with us. And I think he's going to add to our lineup, especially when we get Ronald back and we get Murph back and we get Hole again. It's going to really lengthen our lineup because he's kind of a Swiss Army knife, I think, and where you can use him in a lineup. And I'm excited to get him on board and just that energy that he brings with this guy. I can tell he fit right in here.
Yeah.
And it's a good place for a guy to come because there's some really good personalities and great guys in that clubhouse, and he's fit right in, and I'm excited to have him.
I want to stay there. How is Ronald doing?
Ronald's doing great. There's things he's getting live at bats. It's just the start, stopping, the maneuvering in the outfield, cutting bases, all that stuff is, as far as at bats and everything, he's probably ready to go right now, but there's things with the leg and the knee that they have to check all the boxes and everything. So we got to just take our time with him and be patient, because when we get him back, we want to get him back whole, and we want him to stay out there on the field every day. And he's got a great attitude right now. I mean, this kid, I look at him, I just see he just keeps maturing as a player, as a person. You see him with his children. He's a great father, and so it's going to be really, it's going to energize the whole club when we can get him back out there.
Snit, this offseason was interesting in your division. There was a guy that signed right down in your division. There was a guy that signed. He just went kind of around the corner from the Yankees to the Mets. Were you rooting for Soto to go somewhere else and not get in your division so you didn't have to face
Absolutely.
him all the time?
No, I was hoping he'd go to the American League, where I only had to look at him 3 days. Not Boston, where I think we played them 6. But I was rooting for him to get a nice little deal, in the AL West or Central or East. There, instead of right back in our division again. But good for them. There's nobody in our division that sits on their thumbs in the off season. Everybody, it's a really good division. The pitching is unbelievable. There are some really, really good players, obviously, and that's why I'm glad we play everybody. I got tired of playing the Mets and the Phillies and all them guys 19 times during a year.
So you like that schedule?
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. I like seeing everybody. I like every other year going to all the ballparks. I think that's fun too.
Snit, what about the Angels? I know you lost some guys, but your whole coaching staff is now on the Angels. Do you call over there and you're like, hey, Wash, hey, EY? Hey, Sal, I miss you guys. Hey, Travis, what's happening in
Yeah, I
Arizona?
know.
Are you gonna
I know,
take him to
right?
dinner when you go to Arizona this week?
Yeah, I know, right? Well, Perry's an old Brave too, so
Yeah.
and I look, and they're doing a good job over there. I was just looking to this morning. They had their lineup and everything. It's a nice little team. They've done a good job there. They got some really good young players, and like everybody else, I think which one you look at the end of the year every year. And the offenses, but you look at who's leading like the National League or the American League in pitching, and probably the top 6 teams are in the playoffs.
Hey,
True.
Snit, I've got a question for you about Wash. Did you see that he's got the no cell phone policy running in the clubhouse? Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't see that. I don't know
Yeah.
how these guys are going to go. They'll be like, having fits and everything, start shaking, and if they don't have your cell phone,
Withdrawal, right?
My God, that's I'd be wondering if they have counselors there,
Does that-
for everybody.
I want to add on to that, Scotty, because I want to ask you, the word around the league is that the guys actually like it because he says that it's causing them to interact more.
Well, that's
so it's a method to Wash's madness, but is that
No,
why? Is that
you
why
know
you hear
what?
that? Is that
He's
Wash?
right on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you. We were playing in West Palm Beach in that new place, and there's 3 rows of lockers, and I went after batting practice one day, and I went down the lockers, and I saw everybody. Nobody was talking to each other. Everybody was on their phone. I get where he's coming from. God bless him. I think that's a great idea just because of that. I said, what are some of the greatest things that we experience here in our lives as ball players, and as close as we are every day, is the relationships. And those guys, they're losing the relationships because they got a great relationship with their phone. So my hat's off to him. I think he might be onto something.
Snit, you need to work on your relationship with your phone because every time I text you, I get a new phone. Who dis? Okay, so I don't know how.
Right. I apologize. I won't
Hey,
do it. It
Snit,
won't happen again.
Snit, you guys
All
won the
right,
World
enough.
Series.
I've
Way
been
to go,
beat up
Snit.
enough.
Yeah, Snit, I'm super happy you guys won the World Series. New phone. Who dis? Right at the BBWAA, I went up to you and you said, Franco, who's this guy that's texting me? Right in front of me, and I'm like, well, good to see you too, Snit.
Now I want to ask you about one more guy. We talked health, we talked pitching staff. I want to ask you about Kelnick. Is he a guy, you get him going, everybody healthy, you say he could be a real intricate piece of this puzzle?
No, absolutely. I mean, this kid is just loaded with talent, and he's just, he's learning how to keep all the balls in the air. And I think probably all you guys know, when you first came in, there's layers to kind of pull off to becoming that established big leaguer. He's still pulling layers off. He's still a young man, and he's very talented. And, there's a lot of outside noise right now in the game and these guys' lives, that they're dealing with. But he's a talented he's had a good spring.
Yeah.
I like where he's at, and he's going to continue to grow and mature, and because you don't find talent like that just anywhere. And he can play all 3 of the outfield positions very well. He's got an above average throwing arm. He's got speed, power, the whole thing. He just needs to learn to how to do it every day and handle all the outside noise that every young player has to deal with.
Let me ask you that last question for me. Is that a part of just giving yourself a little bit more grace? Because it almost seems like he cares too much. I hate to say it, but you know what I mean? It's like
we're all pleasers.
We are.
You know what? We all want to do good. We all want to, we're going to listen to every piece of advice that we all get. Lord knows I had to learn how to shut it out. When you get up here, and he's still learning that, and he's going to be fine. And you're right. And you never know when you have something like that. We get at Ronald back, we'll see where we are. But like you said, injuries happen. You need talented players, and you need depth. And we face a lot of right-handed pitching coming out of the gate here, and he's going to get a lot of opportunities. So, like I say, you just hang with the kid. You be patient with him. And because, on the back end of all that, when they get it going, man, it's something pretty good.
Yeah. Well, Snit, we're excited to see the ball club for some real games late next week. Enjoy the trip to Arizona, too. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you during the season.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right, FT fam, we'll be right back. All right, a couple Astros topics here during break that we won't have time for on the TV show. We'll show the uniforms for the Stros, but first, Jose Altuve kind of officially named the left fielder for the Astros. I know he's had some hiccups. Some people are worried, but he's going to play most of his games out there. Of course, things can change, but AJ, are you good with this?
Yeah, he's bought in, so I'm good with it. I don't have a problem with this at all. I think does he want to do it? I don't know that he wants to do it, but you know what? If he thinks it's best for the team, I think he'll do it, and he'll do the best he can. He's athletic enough. I mean, in Daikin, not Minute Maid anymore, Daikin Park, there's not much wind. He's playing these high skies in Florida outside with the wind. It's going to be a little bit different, but I think once he gets adjusted, he's going to be good out there because he takes pride in what he does. And you know one thing Jose Altuve is always going to do? He's going to hit.
Yeah, and left field's it's tiny out there.
Yeah, but still.
It's a small left field.
But there's a weird wall, right?
Yeah.
There's a weird wall. There's some weird angles. It's going to take some getting used to, but once he gets used to it, he'll be fine. I have no doubt in Jose Altuve doing anything. I would never question Jose Altuve doing anything on a baseball field.
Some people are freaking out. Oh, what if he makes 25 errors, whatever? I'm like, if he makes 5 in the first couple weeks, they'll move him back. So
he's not making 25 errors in the outfield.
Yeah,
Come on.
people are freaking out on socials. All right, the uniforms. Getting a lot of new unis coming out left and right. What do we think?
I kind of like them. I did like the Space City ones just because they were different. But I like this one, Stros. I like the shooting star across the front. I don't mind these. I kind of like the A on the top. Yeah, these are cool. These are different. But I think when you go City Connects, you got to go crazy. I don't think because they're supposed to be different than the regular ones. This looks like it could be almost an everyday uniform for me, right? Like this almost you got to go crazy. That's why I like the Space City because they were the dark navy blue and they said Space City. So yeah, I like them, but I think this could be almost an everyday uniform for the Astros.
But that's a compliment too. That means they're
100%.
nice enough that if they wore them every day, you're like, cool.
They're clean. They're clean. 100%. Yes. You know, like the Rays gray ones that they did that they got on that hot winning streak. Those are awesome. The White Sox black Southside one, right? Because they're just so different than what their normal uniform looks like. And that's what these are meant to be, different to get people to go out and buy them.
Yeah, I like them. I understand not every single City Connect's going to go crazy. And if they're going to keep releasing different ones, I'm fine with that. You know, as long as it's a win. I want to try and be tempered with how we criticize uniforms. If they're a disaster, we'll be all over them. But these were cool. This is a fancy what's the beef segment, okay? This is like that Coby beef, that real nice cut here. So the Phillies are suing an analytics company that was bought out by a company called Teamworks. Zealous was the original name of the company. Basically, this is actually something common in baseball. You can pay for exclusivity with certain data that you're receiving in a contract. That is not abnormal. This company got bought out by a bigger company that works with all the teams, and they're trying to split up the services offered. And they still had a contract running, including for this year with an option. They went to the Phillies and they were like, hey, we'll give you a discount for your services that we're going to give to you, but we're going to offer all kinds of packages to every team. The Phillies are like, no, you're not allowed to work with any teams in the division. You're only allowed to work with 6 teams total, and that includes 1 per division. So this is actually pretty common, AJ, with analytics companies, and it sounds like they should have waited 1 more year until I think the deal was expired. But instead, this is going to go to court, and the Phillies are saying this is the kind of damage that is hard to even put into numbers because think about it. The Phillies win a World Series, that's tens of millions of dollars that they're going to make. And this is a pretty good fight that we're going to have in court.
I like this fight. And I like the Phillies for doing this. Good for you, Phillies, for standing up for yourself. Yeah, analytics companies do this all the time. I mean, at least it's not what the Astros guys go into the Cardinals database and steal all their analytical. Remember that whole thing? I mean, I know it wasn't that bad, but what this company is doing is basically they're trying to say, hey, we're going to go out to other rivals and say, hey, we have the Phillies, so you guys should get on with this too. And they're using them. And I like that the Phillies are going after them. They should because, yes, they pay for certain advantages, and every team is trying to find that advantage. We talked about it with Pierce Johnson. What do the Rockies need to do to find their advantage at home? And this is a way for the Phillies to say, hey, we use you. We believe in your stuff. We don't want everyone else to have it while we're under contract. So I agree with the Phillies on this one.
I'm right there with you, AJ. One thing that as you were going down the list, Scott, all I heard was greed, and more greedy. So I respect the Phillies 100% for making this move because they made this move to bolster their club, and then here you have a company that got greedy. And like Scott said, a little bit of patience we wouldn't be here. So yeah, I'm totally okay with it.
I feel like there's some personal vitriol involved here too. As I read the whole story, it was great in The Athletic. It talked about how the guy who really started the analytics department for the Phillies, the first real full-fledged, they call it, analytics department, his name's Andy Galdi. He was then hired away by this company. And then he has hired multiple research and development staff away from the Phillies during this time period. So if I'm the Phils, I'm like, you're stealing our employees. Now you're trying to pimp out the information that was supposed to be for us in an exclusive deal. Again, I don't know every single morsel. We're going to find more out in court if it gets there. But then they go to the Phillies this offseason. They're like, hey, we're going to give all kinds of different packages to everyone. So your exclusivity is going to be gone, but we'll give you a discount. But the discount looked to me like it was still going to end up costing them more for their deal than anyone else. So I'm like, on top of that, you're still making them pay more and you're violating the contract. So I thought it was crazy, but it's going to be really interesting.
I don't agree with a lot of lawsuits, but I agree with this one with the Phillies. And also I agree that we have a guest coming on. So Scott, cut it off.
All right. Well, let's get to him right now. Grant Holmes joining us in a moment.
You know who has not had a good spring? Jason Foley. Yeah. I don't know that the Tigers are going to option Jason Foley, but if I were running the team, that might be my move. They didn't use him in the ALDS. Like AJ Hinch was actively staying away from him. And not only is his ERA bad this spring, the stuff just hasn't been there. The velo was way down, and I think his most recent outing, in a way, he's one of your most proven relievers. That'd be kind of a bold move. But who's had the better, not just results-wise, who has looked better this spring? Who do you want to put in against the LA Dodgers right now? I'd take Hannafy. And again, just tell Foley, hey, man, we believe in you. You're a great pitcher. We just need you to go get right real quick. That's going to be really interesting because someone is going to get told they're not on the team who deserves to be on the team. That could be Mize, that could be Hannafy, that could be Foley, that could be Herder, Chase. There are going to be some hard conversations. We're not even mentioning Cater Montero, who's had a great spring. I think he's pretty much locked to be like that dude in Toledo who's maybe the rain delay guy. We're going to see him, but it makes sense for him to go to AAA. Hannafy's the one that's keeping me up right now. And I'm like, he kind of has to be on this bullpen. The only real way I see it working is if you option Foley, and I'm not sure I see the Tigers actually optioning Jason Foley.
Oh, man, that's a good problem too, AJ, when you've got all these relievers with the Tigers, and Foley was a guy who picked up a lot of saves for them last year. Looks like you might be a little frozen. So let's do this. Let's step aside for a quick 30 seconds, and then we'll bring back AJ and Grant Holmes and Cam Maybin. Here we go. We saved the best for last. Best hair for sure. Grant Holmes joining us right now from Braves camp. This is the last interview from camp.
Is that Andrew Chafin?
Andrew Chafin wish he had a head full of locks like this, AJ.
Same mustache. Same mustache.
Yeah.
It's a little bit thicker.
Yeah.
Grant, great to have you on, man. How's the end of camp here, and how amped are you to be part of this team now for a full season ride, as a starter?
It's been fun. It's nice coming into camp, having an idea of what they want you to do. So, I'm pretty excited for the year.
Okay, you're excited, but let me ask you this. How much pressure do you feel at times when you go out there, you take the mound, and you know that you have the most luxurious hair in the game? Like, does that put pressure on you to get the job done? Because this flow right here, if I'm a hitter, I'm like, I got to get this guy, right? Like, I can't. He looks too good for me to let him get me out right now.
Yeah, I don't let it bother me. I just try to go out there and do my thing. Whether it be starting or relieving, just go out there and take the ball with their strikes.
So we talk about that. Talk about doing your thing. I just told you as we sat down, I don't think a lot of people are talking about this pitching staff, bullpen, starting rotation. What are you looking to bring to this starting staff as we, get ready to exit camp?
Just being consistent. I think that's the biggest thing. As a starter, being consistent, getting the ball every fifth, sixth day, whatever it may be. Going out there and, keeping, the bullpen out of the game as long as possible.
Love that.
So that's my goal.
Grant, we've been looking forward to chatting with you. Can you introduce your story to our audience? It's national, global audience, whatever you want to call it, that doesn't know about your path, long time in the minors, and how you ended up here, and even, some of the changes that were made where you end up in the bullpen and then find yourself here as a starter. Can you take us through the ups and downs a little bit?
Yeah, I got drafted in 2014 by the Dodgers. Spent a couple seasons there. End of 16, I guess at a trade deadline, I got traded to the Oakland A's. And, I spent the next 6 years there and kind of found my career kind of going downhill, when you get to the PCL, like I feel like a lot of other people do as well. I guess it was at 22, I got released and the Braves signed me, which was, it was kind of cool. They're just coming off a World Series, signing a kid that just was putting up like an 80 ERA in the PCL. It felt pretty good, gave me a little bit of fire to, want to get better and continue the career, and got over here, learned a slider, and, the rest is history.
I was just going to ask what changed. Like, was that it? So that was all you were missing? Was that slider? I mean, we talk about the ups and downs. That was it. One pitch.
That and, pitch usage. The slider has worked really well for me lately. And I mean, obviously, I think last year I ticked up a couple, like a mile and a half on my fastball, average fastball. And, I guess it's just cleaning up some mechanics and mostly pitch usage. Yeah.
What do you mean you found a slider? And they taught you a slider. What does that mean? Because doesn't every other organization teach you a slider? I don't understand. Like, what would the Braves do? Did Rick Kranitz or somebody say, hey, we're going to change your grip, we're going to change your release angle, we're going to change the way you pull it down? What does that mean when you say I found a slider?
As a new pitch, I had only thrown curveball, changeup, fastball, and the PCL, it was, the curveball doesn't really curve. It's more of like a spinny ball. I got over here with a little bit of humidity and the curveball started coming back, and they were like, the Braves, their fastballs up, sliders down. So they, taught me a slider, and I've been, throwing it ever since. So, I mean, just learned a new pitch. It's crazy how one pitch can change a career.
It's amazing to me that no team gave you that.
I know. That's what I was going to say, AJ. And everybody raves about the Dodgers and what they get from the Dodgers. And you talk about Oakland. To hear that it took that long for somebody to go, hey, let's try a slider. And here we are now, and we ain't looking back. I want to add to that. I want to ask you, talk about that long journey in the minor leagues. At any point, did you almost lose hope or think, I don't know if it's going to happen? Like, what kept you going?
I had the thoughts, but, they only lasted a little bit. Obviously kind of give it a little bit, to dwell on those thoughts, but then, got to get back into
the positive thoughts, and knowing that I haven't achieved my dream yet, I was still, pushing and grinding to better myself to get to that point.
Hey Grant, so now that you know, hey, I'm in the rotation. I've taken a big step in my career. What are some goals for you? And if you can mix in, I would assume, hey, you've got enough dirt in your spikes, whether it was up here or obviously in the minors, that you can just let it eat as far as innings, or do you have to be careful with a workload plan?
Oh no, I started earlier on in my career, and I feel like I take care of myself, and I think I could, however many innings I end up throwing. I don't think there's no limit or, set in stone like, hey, this is what we're looking for. It's just go out there and compete and, recover between those days that you have off until your next start.
Grant, did you do a basketball poll? Did you do a pool?
I did not.
You didn't do one? Why not? The Braves not do that?
They do. I don't really watch basketball.
But if you had to pick a team to win, who would you pick?
Florida.
You better say Florida. You silent Florida. I know you're from South Carolina, but you better say Florida.
Yeah, Florida.
Otherwise, Cam's gonna reach across and smack you for me.
Hey, AJ, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, Florida. Yeah.
Had him
You
on one of these.
silent
Ain't that what y'all do?
Yeah.
That's right. Right over left, Cam.
Gator bait. Hey, speaking
I know
of
he's
Florida,
from South Carolina, but he signed with Florida, Cam. He's smart.
I was gonna ask him, being from South Carolina, did you grow up? I'm from North Carolina, Asheville. Did you grow up a Braves fan?
Absolutely.
Because most of us, when you're from the South, you grew up a Braves fan. So to put this uniform on, does it mean that much more to you and your family? Like,
absolutely.
You got the ticket request going crazy?
Not so much that. I try to kind of keep that on the.
We get taxed for these tickets. I told Mark, hey, family, players get taxed for their tickets, okay, guys? So I know you may stay close to Grant, but we only get so many. Just make sure just tell them the truth, man.
That's true.
I got 6, that's it.
Yeah, but growing up a Braves fan, I feel like it gives me that much more fire to put on the uniform. Growing up watching, the legends that this organization has produced. That's pretty cool.
Thank you. I appreciate the compliment. Thank you. So does
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
I don't think they produced us.
Well, Grant, it's an awesome story. We're excited to watch you work this year again here in the rotation for the Braves. Thanks for hopping on here for the first time. Loved having you. Good luck this season. We'll try and grab you during the year too, okay?
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you. That's Grant Holmes with us. That's going to do it from Braves camp. We'll stay on for the crowd online for a little bit longer, but for the TV crowd, especially Braves fans that are watching in Braves country, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks to Sale, Snitker, and many more. Profar. This was fun.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Good luck, man.
Thank you.
How far is Asheville?
Three minutes to go, and then you can watch Dodgers territory. But let's do a little emotional goodbye to the spring training tour. I heard we got one or two things prepared. I know.
I'm like Mookie. I got sick. I traveled so much.
Did you? Did you lose 15 pounds?
I wish. Someone could
Man,
tell me
that was
how
a
I did it.
lot.
That was a lot. He can't afford to lose 15 pounds either.
That's what I'm saying. I was like a little bit concerned when I saw that. I mean, 5 pounds would be a lot. Mookie is probably what, 150?
No, he's bigger than that. Come on, Scott.
170?
No, he's listen. Mookie's bigger than people give him credit for, but to him, 15 pounds is like you losing 2 pounds.
He's 180, listed 180. So that would be 165.
That's small.
That's small.
You got to get him right too, because they really struggled those first 2 games without him and Freddie. They got to get him right to make sure.
They desperately missed their superstars. I mean, they didn't win by that much.
I mean, they only hammered the team that many people were thinking was going to win the Central fairly easily in 2 games without. And I said this yesterday. I did Colin Cowherd yesterday, and he's like, "Well, what about the Cubs?" I said, "The Dodgers didn't throw their 1 and 2. They threw their 3 and 4 starter because they didn't see Glasnow and Snell, right? The Cubs threw Imanaga and Steele. That's their 1-2. The Dodgers threw their 3 and their 4. Let's not forget how good they are." And yesterday in game 2, They didn't use Tanner Scott. They didn't use Blake Trinan. They didn't use Evan Phillips on the show. They didn't use Bonda. They didn't use a lot of these guys that they're going to use down the stretch. They closed it out with Vesia. Oh, yeah, owned Kirby Yates, who's pretty good, who nobody can hit, by the way. And if you ain't
And
seen
nobody
Kirby Yates'
won it.
numbers- Yeah, nobody won it. But if you didn't see Kirby Yates' numbers last year, they are redonkulous because nobody could hit his fastball or his split. He throws 93 cam right down the middle, and dudes just missed it.
It's the most frustrating thing in the world. I've been there. How am I not hitting this? He gets it done. I'm with you, AJ. So just so many weapons. And then I'm going to throw Conforto, Edmund, Will Smith, just smack them around quietly. So much depth.
And once he got to hit, we needed.
Once he did.
We'll
tell him about it next time. What does he have? Hits in 5 countries?
Yeah.
That's cool. All right, let's finish strong here. We got 2 things prepared. Number 1, spring training stats. We hit 19 camps this year. That was a foul territory season high. 62 player interviews, 16 GM manager coach interviews, and 8 other guests too. Wow. That was awesome. Thank you, Arizona, Florida, and the crew behind the scenes. For example, our fearless leader, Mark, who is holding up the interview between AJ and Zach Gallen. If not, AJ, that could have been ugly. I don't think we have enough insurance for that one.
It wouldn't have been ugly for me or Zach. Notice where we positioned ourselves. But Mark also was the one that put up the sail. See the sail that he's behind him? The wind was blowing that way, and they thought that would be a good idea to put the sail up. So, yes, thanks for Mark for holding it up, but also bad engineering on your end by putting the sail. I mean, it was like a sail. And then I don't know. But Zach Gallen, I did know who you were. If you didn't see that episode, Zach accused me of not knowing who he was. So he was playing with me, but he knew that I knew that he knew that I knew that he knew.
Exactly. Cam, you crushed it, man. Encouraging everyone also to look back at prior episodes. Just look up, one of those 19 teams if you want to see more from them. But hope you have fun, man. We'll catch you soon, okay?
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys. It was a blast.
Yes. Dave travels home. FT fam, back tomorrow for a normal show.